Hey, what's going on, internet interwebs? This is Will, and I'm here with my sister
Carmen.
Hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. I'm doing lovely.
Yeah, well, since my sister lives with me, we're doing this in the same room because apparently Zoom is stupid.
And Skype crashes.
So we had to do it this way, but we got to make do with what we have.
Exactly.
When life gives you lemons, make lemonade.
Hello.
You know how it is. Now, I understand that this podcast is called, what is my podcast? Getting to Know You podcast. This is still new for me. So, humble beginnings, people. Humble beginnings.
Yes.
So my sister is my second guest.
Yes.
On the show.
Yes.
So we are doing this podcast together. So I'm going to get to know my sister a little bit more. Maybe she'll get to know me a little bit more. We get to go into a conversation. So this should be a little easy. But first, I'm going to start the segment off like if she is a person that I don't know. So the best way to do that is to ask people some deep questions. Now, if any point, if you feel uncomfortable answering a question, you do not have to answer a question. Just throwing that out there, and just say, I'd rather not answer.
Okay.
All right. Cool. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions, and we're going to do that. So your first question is, what are the top 3 things on your bucket list?
Definitely skydiving. I always wanted to do that. I do want to take a trip to Australia for at least 25 days.
Why 25?
Because you have to go there, man. You have to really enjoy that that country, that continent. I mean, it's beautiful. Is it a continent?
It's both.
Thank God. I'm sorry. And my third one would be to retire and drive an RV cross country everywhere. Stay at a Walmart. Stay at a KOA. Doesn't matter. Own my RV.
What about driving an RV in Australia for 25 days?
Dude. So doable. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Well, you could kill 3. You could even skydive there too. You could kill 3 birds with 1 stone in Australia.
Hello.
Just do it. I say plan a trip to Australia and make it like a really big one.
Yes.
Just like
usually people do the few weeks or at least a minimum of like 15 days to really enjoy it. They do like a 10-day, fly drive or travel around different areas of Australia, so that's pretty cool.
Hopefully when this whole quarantine stuff is over and hopefully Australia is growing back during this quarantine.
Yeah, because of the fire
and stuff. So hopefully, it'll be
I have time.
Good.
I'm not in no rush for anything that's fantastic.
I mean, that is true. Yeah, but come on, but you would like it to happen though.
I mean, who wouldn't? Instant satisfaction is nice satisfaction.
Okay, now what was so actually my top 3 bucket list things. See, this is such a hard question because I have so many. I don't know why I always wanted to swim with dolphins. No clue why though.
That's good.
No clue why though. I always want to go. I want to go to Japan. Even though I don't eat food.
Wow. Well, that's all right. They have a McDonald's in Japan.
I mean, but why do you go to Japan to eat McDonald's? You go to Japan.
I mean, you can enjoy the scenery, the environment. Forget listen. Might as well take it all in too, though. I mean at least try something.
I would try, but the thing is that the
you need to try duck.
But I like duck though. I tried duck.
High five.
So duck is good. But like the thing is that I don't like about like with Japan, they hate picky eaters. If somebody offers you food, like especially if you go to that like a small restaurant or something, that the chef gives you the food and is watching you eat to get that reaction, I can't do that.
Oh
but
God.
I don't know.
That's crazy.
But I would love to go to Japan. I would like to like look around and like see like the like where I would love to go to the Nintendo building, take a picture in front of that.
Of course.
Just a few other places like Sony and a few other places. But I would also like to go to like Okinawa and all the other places. And the third one, I really don't know. I really don't. I didn't really think about this because I was not expecting it. Bucket list. I don't know. Win a Grammy. I don't know. Something like that.
Hey.
I don't know. Win a Grammy.
Never say never.
Never say never. Okay, this is actually a good question. What is the biggest risk you've ever taken?
Ooh, that is a fantastic
And did it pay
question.
off?
I did take, one of the biggest risks was dropping everything and coming out Southwest. And yes, it did pay off.
Ooh.
Definitely paid off.
Definitely, yes.
You know, I'm someone who makes spontaneous decisions, and that was one of my riskiest. To drop a career, relationship, and
That's
just
right.
pick up with what I had and take off and taking that risk. And, you know, it took time, but it was so worth it. So worth it.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Definitely.
Do it again.
Oh, she do it again like that. She snapped to it.
Mm-hmm.
A biggest regret that I did. I mean, well, no, biggest risk that I took, I think was, I guess, just me in general coming out. Probably.
Yes.
I think, well, I don't know. I mean, every gay person before they come out, they always have this feeling of risk that they're going to lose their family, they're going to lose their friends, they're going to lose everything, and they're going to be potentially homeless because there have been people who have come out and that's what happened to them. So I would say that that's definitely like one of the biggest risks I take. That it did work out for me in a lot of positive ways. Mm-hmm. But like. It is what it is. I love it. Hello. Yeah.
That's perfect.
Honestly, I would have to say that, yeah, that's probably the biggest risk that I took. But next question. Let's just like answer like 2 more questions and then we'll get to the nitty-gritty stuff.
All right.
So when have you been the most happy?
Oh, that's a fantastic question. So I am married now. No disrespect to my husband. I think it was, I'm happy now, but when I can remember the most happiest, and it doesn't take away from where I am now, just to be clear. Mm-hmm. There was a time where I made a decision to focus on myself. And I started going back to school and I was working and everything was working out. And I was on my own, single with 3 kids for a while. I think that's when I was the most happiest, being content and proud of myself.
Yeah.
I was learning about myself and I was taking that time. And I think that at that time was when I was the most happiest because everything was for me and my surroundings, and it wasn't for anybody else. And that was a big thing for me, and it made me grow into my happiest that I am today. Yeah. I don't want to take away from where I am, but I know my decisions and things that I've done in the past had led me to where I am now. Yeah. So, it doesn't take away. It's just gotten better from there. Mm-hmm. Definitely better from there. But that was a pinpoint in my life when I actually sat down and said, I'm freaking happy. I'm really actually very happy. And it was very genuine. I remember that moment. So thank you for that question.
It's a good question because it's one of those things that you got to think about. Sometimes
I haven't
you got to
thought
think
about that.
I would say that probably there's a few moments that I've been like the happiest, I would have to say. I think that was when I drove myself to a Burger King. Or like to like a drive-through for the first time after being so afraid of driving for years. And that was honestly, I don't know if that counts as a proudest moment or a happiest moment, because it's so.
It can be both.
It could be both, but I think that it was a proud moment because it was one of those things that I thought in my life I would never do. Right. And I did it, and it was crazy.
I didn't have a doubt.
I even remember I drove myself to the movies. I was like, what? That is so freaking
and that's
cool.
The best,
yeah.
It? That's the best.
Oh my God, it's the best. I love it. It was the greatest thing ever. And yeah.
That was a great question.
Okay. Actually, well, let's do 2 more. I think I have 2 questions I want to know. Okay.
Oh, snap.
Do you think your priorities have changed since you were younger?
Definitely.
Yeah, and
definitely. What ways? I brought priorities before when I was younger that I thought were important and were supposed to lead me in the right direction, and they were just not. I always thought that being a good person to everyone was a number one. So if anybody were to ask me, hey, give me a ride to the store, hey, can you come pick me up, or hey, can you help me out, I was a yes person. But again, led me on to kind of mature. Yeah, that's it. I got kind of blank there. I don't know where I was going with that.
Well, no, I think that your priorities definitely changed.
Oh, yes.
Because I know, because I think that once you became a mother, that like was the first change.
Of course.
Then after when you moved here,
but I was still
changed.
growing, and I was still kind of pretty selfish, and my priorities still weren't where they were supposed to be for me to be able. That's where I was getting at, to be able to grow and be happy with my priorities now. Yes, they have changed. Yeah, definitely changed. I just don't think of everybody and be like, oh, you're first, just because I have time. No. Priorities have changed. Even if I have time, it's my time. Yeah. And so that has become my priority. It's myself. That doesn't mean I can't be there for everybody else. It's just I need to stop, take a moment, and realize, okay, what's in front of me, and then prioritize based on that. How do I feel about the situation? Yeah. Think about it.
That's good.
Thinking about it first.
Mm-hmm. Thinking about it first.
Yeah.
You heard it here. Mm-hmm. For me, my priorities changed, but not to an extent of where I would like it to be. I feel like my priorities kind of went into a position where, like when I left my ex relationship, that was where I wanted to see my priorities change, because I was so used to a certain thing. And I wanted to change out of that. So my priorities did change, yes, but I still feel like ultimately I don't have a purpose yet. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, is it going to be this podcast? Is it going to be something else? Is it going to be in music? Is it going to be like me being a teacher or something? Like, I don't know what's going to happen. So I don't know where my priorities are.
Well, that's the good thing about them. They can change.
They could.
You have time.
Yes.
And, when it happens, you'll know. Still, all of us are learning.
Ooh, this is a hard question. Actually, I don't know if I want to ask. Oh, wait. Okay, no, this is a good one.
Don't sugarcoat it.
Okay. What scares you most about the future?
Wow. The unknown. The fact that you can see something heading a good direction for the future. Like, you see, your child going into college and moving forward, and you can kind of picture that future. And it not end up being that way. At all.
Yeah.
So the downside. So I'm a person that loves to think positive. I try to think of if you know me.
I'm the opposite.
Yeah. But if you know me, or if you know Will, I'm the total opposite of Will. Yeah. So I always say, it's okay. There's another option, or there's other things. But the fact that it's unknown and it can change, it's what scares me the most about the future. About, that not knowing how it's going to end up. Hoping for the best.
Well, in your case, if I were to be positive, sometimes the change is actually better than what you initially thought. And you don't know,
Maybe.
I mean, I think that right now everything is still new, because it could have been like so much worse. Like, the kids could have ended up being drug addicts. Correct. Or stuff like that. Correct. And they're not. And they're really
haven't had to bail anyone out yet.
Nobody. And everybody's been great.
Yeah, so, but again, the unknown about the future of that. Anything can change. And it's not just the children. It's myself. It's my husband. It's my family. It's you. It's mom. Anything can happen to where the dynamics can change. Yeah. So the unknown of that, and hoping that it doesn't happen, is the scariest part. Not knowing how to deal with it, maybe. Yeah. And I feel I'm pretty strong. I've had to deal with a lot of hard things. Not saying worse than any others, but in my lifetime, I've had to deal with some pretty harsh situations, and to look in the positive of it has helped me along. But sometimes even the aftermath of all of those things can really scare of not knowing until you get there. And then when you get there, you're like, okay, either I dealt with it or not. But that's the scariest part for me for that, as far as that question.
So for me, I would say that what terrifies me the most about the future, I mean, I agree with you, like, just the unknown of what could happen. Like, we didn't know that COVID-19 was going to be there in the skim of 2019. We didn't know that. No. So, like, we didn't know. And because of that, like...
Were there signs? Yes.
Yeah, there were signs.
But nobody was paying attention.
No.
We're so used to what's in front of us right now.
That we're not paying attention to the whole story. We're just paying attention to the direct story. We're not paying attention to the sequels or the side prequels or whatever. We're just only paying attention to the main
Dude, there
story.
were movies.
It's like watching Star Wars and you only watch the main series, but you don't watch the cartoons or anything like that. So, like, that's how it is. And, oh my goodness.
That's a good question.
Those are like the deep questions to really get into like the deep things. So let's get to the actual things. So we need to talk about the big elephant in the room, and that is the coronavirus, COVID-19, and how we're handling it. So obviously I'm going to talk to you like I don't know you, even though I know the answers to these questions. Okay. And once again, if you don't feel comfortable answering any of these questions, just be sure to let me know, and we won't talk about it. All right. So obviously, are you an essential worker or considered an essential worker?
I'm considered I've had work on a regular basis. I haven't lost hours. I haven't lost days. I'm pretty consistent through this whole pandemic. Yeah. From day one.
Well, same here, except that they recently cut my hours. Yeah, right. So that's this is both a good and a bad thing. So it's like
you get to rest.
I get to rest.
Where I don't. I still come home and crash and burn.
You do. You do. You crash and burn.
But I'm not considered frontline.
No. I mean, I wouldn't say it's not like we have it as bad as like a nurse or a grocery store person.
They're doing 12-hour shifts.
Oh my God. Yeah, I can't. And so how have you been handling just the entirety of it? Like, how has it affected and changed your world?
So I've been pretty emotional, for the most part. You know, you try to keep it together, most days to deal with the day. At first, it was just more of the fact that I needed the information. I needed to know what was happening that day, what was new. From that first time that we were watching that one on YouTube. That everything just kind of went back to back to back to back. It started with
I remember it was the State of the Union or whatever, or like Trump addressing the nation about it.
And then
after that, Tom Hanks.
And then it was just NBA got like a domino effect, right?
It just kept going.
So with that being the instant of, we went from nothing to just back to back to back, it was like, okay, what's today? What's going to happen today? What's going to be today? What's going to be new today? And then the unknown, the fact that we were hearing, well, we don't know. And there was which I'm okay with. I mean, I would rather hear the truth of, I don't know, than feeding me information that's untrue or uncertain and given to me, that way. But for the most part, it's been super emotional. I've had really, really, really bad days, where, my job entitles, okay, so because I'm a property manager, the people that live in here are my responsibility. I'm just not a property manager that collects rent. I'm someone who people come and talk to, confide in. People freak out. So I'm not only taking my own uncertainties and emotions and scares, people that are scared. I'm also scared, and they're also too. And it's more than 200 people that I have to kind of listen to and kind of give as much feedback and reassurance as possible. So this has been happening since day one. So it's been a kind of a roller coaster of emotions. I don't want to say I regret it. I am exhausted. I think I've cried more in the past couple months than I could care to want to admit. There's been times that I wanted to cry and I couldn't because, okay, what's going to happen now? Who's going to come up to me and ask me, and how am I going to respond? Is one of my residents going to come and tell me that they're positive? How are they going to live through it? Or, what's going to happen? What's going to, and those are those things where, those emotions just up and down. I'm okay with not getting the thank yous. I'm okay with, like the frontline peoples. Yes, they deserve it all. But I am also exhausted. My emotions and it's become a different type of work. Mm-hmm. So I'm grateful. I haven't had to lose my job or cut hours or anything like that, but it is frustrating and tiresome. It's a whole different work day. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Mm-hmm.
And so what do you do to keep yourself in like a positive mindset during this whole entire thing? Like you say that you're a person that likes to be positive, especially during negative situations and things like that. So correct. What is things that you're doing that is making you positive? So you
don't know this.
Oh. Yeah. I don't know. Exclusive.
No, yes, exclusive. But I do keep a journal. I read my law of attraction, my positive thoughts. I reassure myself. I'll write it down. I just try to be grateful that even though it may not have been a perfect day, I'm truly grateful that I was able to even have a productive day. Yeah. So to me, that's how I've been able to kind of regroup and just tell myself, you know what, this situation is bad, but I'm not the only one, and try to reassure myself that, I'm not the only one feeling that way. And so that kind of gives me a sense of comfort. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I try to stay as positive. I tell myself good things. I have a great husband that keeps me irritated, annoyed, and laughing.
So he's giving you the same normal day that you can. Oh, it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he gives me the same stuff. I mean, he not literally slaps me in the face and says, okay, knock it off. It's okay to have a moment. And yes, but, again, he reassures me everything's going to be just fine as what it's intended to. We're not guaranteed anything. So regardless of the virus, it is what it is. True. Life is what it is. We only have one of them that I can see right now. Mm-hmm. So try to take advantage of the moment that you have. That's it.
Exactly. And the thing is that it's all about not, in my opinion, the best way to look at this is to actually focus on all the things that you do have as opposed to what you don't have.
Exactly.
There's people out there that, like, from my previous guest, Christopher, he lives by himself. And could you imagine, like, I'm grateful that I have you and I have Papo here and, and a dog, a cat here. So it's like I have like that, like if it gets to a point where we cannot go outside, period.
Correct.
Like, period. Like let's say that they say that your job is no longer essential. And they have to complete shutdown because the virus got out of control. At least I have somebody to share it with and things like that. At the end of the day, there are people out there that I can understand that, they're probably terrified because they have a job that they have to go out to. And then you find out that people that are staying at home are actually getting paid more than you are on the front lines.
Yeah.
That's another thing. And, like, I'm just like, what is going on?
I mean, we can actually, dwell on it and kind of, pick up all these bad things. But again, I wouldn't feel like I'm living if I wasn't scared. And getting up in the morning and being scared to go outside. A lot of people won't agree with me.
That's anxiety.
But I think this is why I have anxiety issues. And I try to deal with them head on for the most part. But then I kind of shut myself down because I try too hard. Yeah. So I think for me, it's just kind of this whole, coronavirus thing has given me new perspective. Yes, I did get scared to the point where I was trying to set up work from home because I didn't want to go outside. But that was from lack of information. But we also have to understand that we're learning as we go. Everybody's trying to figure this out. So I can only do the best I can with what I have in front of me, and I still have that job. So I'm gonna go get up and go to it, even though I'm scared because anybody can walk into my office and have it and be asymptomatic or I have a lot of residents that do work in the medical field, and I do have residents that are first responders that come and see me, so people have the misconception that, rental properties or rental complexes only see you once a month, if that. Mm-hmm. This is not true for this place. Oh, no, definitely. You're really good at your job. I see my people almost every day, for the most part. Mm. I see my residents. They see me. So I'm very interactive with my people, and so to be cut off and then be distant, and then the trust issues there, the relationships there, and then to be distant all of a suddenly, and then wonder, the first thing in your mind is, are they okay? Mm-hmm. Are they, I think it's just a horrible feeling, but it's something that I wake up every day and try to confront. That's why I'm super exhausted. I may not be a nurse, but I come across in another direction. You know what I mean? Yeah. My residents go out and venture out and then come in. And then you have to deal with, you don't know where they've been at. Right. Yeah. And they need something, and they need to speak with me, and I'm not going to close my door. I'm just going to take extra precautions. The best thing I've noticed that we can do is take those extra precautions. I found out so much about washing hands. You have to wash your hands. You grew up washing your hands. Now I understand, the concept. So, I'm pretty clean for the most part, but, I never really thought about washing my hands every time I touch something. Now I do, but I learned so much from that. I learned that you can wash your hands with water and soap, and it can last up to 3 hours. Yeah. I think that's something that we need to take advantage of, so I don't have to feel like I have to wash every time. Mm. Cleaning up after myself, wiping behind myself. Those are the things that I can take care of. And then I'm not so afraid anymore. Yeah. It's just kind of reteaching me something that I should already know. It sucks. I'm like, damn, was I a pig before? Well, I mean, I feel like the people who are thriving in this environment is people who are germaphobes, like Howie Mandel. Oh my goodness. God, he is killing it. He's killing it. And people are listening to that. I wish I had a germaphobe in my life, to, get me through it. Because I feel. But even if you do that, you can still contract the virus. You have to also understand you need bad bacteria and bad stuff in your body to be able to react to these things. So I think it has to be a balance. It's unfortunate that they're calling it the new norm when it should have been something that we always did. Yeah. But again, the new norm, wash your hands, people. Yeah, I mean, when they call it a new norm, I was like, what you mean you don't wash your hands? I'm like, wait. But then you got to understand that the human race is known for being, if they're going to eat Tide Pods, because of a TikTok challenge or setting themselves on fire. But that's why I don't understand the whole people doing the whole face masks and stuff like that, because how are you going to trip on it when people were eating Tide Pods? I mean, but that's the problem. There has been things right there where people don't want to wear face masks, and when people are told, that's okay. That's a choice. No, but then when people are told that they have to, because there's some businesses that do that, they react crazy. Of course. There's one person that even got killed. No one's ever going to agree. A father of 8 children died. So sad. Because of that. And the lady got spit on. Mm-hmm. It's because we're selfish. I'm sorry. I'll admit I can be a bit selfish. I've lived in the United States. I'm an American citizen. So I can say there are benefits and some bad things about this, because if I don't agree with you, I can say I don't agree with you, and you can take it like a champ and walk away, and we can have that discussion. Or to have that discussion, and we can, talk about it and not have to disrespect or feel as though, you know what I mean? Yeah. But that's really, at the end of the day, that's never going to happen for the most part. You cannot make 100 people agree about one thing. True. You can't. There's always going to be that person that's going to be like, oh no. We're not going to do this. This is not. So again, it's never going to be sufficient. We are selfish and we use the freedom of speech quite a bit when it becomes our benefit. So, everybody has a choice. That's the whole point of being in America. But I mean, that's why I have the choice to go to work and come straight home. I do that. I go to my job. I handle my business. If I have to run an errand, I do it as safely as I can. And then I come home. I don't think about going out and doing this, that, and the third. I try to stay at home as much as possible. Because I don't want to get my family or myself sick. No. Because I don't want to know if my kid can handle it. Or my kid can't handle it, but my mom can get sick and she has underlying conditions and she can be fine. Yeah. But then one of my kids can get, I just don't even want to even. You don't want to know. I don't even want to check that out. No. So with that being said, yes, I do follow rules, but I also realize that I am in my 40s and the decision eventually is mine. So I can choose to go out and be irresponsible, or I can choose to go out and just be aware. I'm not going to go out in a suit or anything. I may not wear gloves, but I will wear a mask. And the reason for that is I'm a person who can speak a lot and loudly or laugh, and I tend to cough. So I don't want to go to a store and then you cough and then I cough and everybody's freaking out because I don't have a freaking mask. So it's more for that purpose.